Good evening, and welcome to another episode of the all-new TTown 411 report and our community conversation. We're broadcasting live from the studio here at McKinstry. Also, we're broadcasting live from my good friend Sound Booth Radio 106.1 and Sound Booth TV. Mike, tell them how can they sound in with your Sound Booth Radio and Sound Booth TV.
Sure thing, Daryl. You can check us out on the radio side of Sound Booth Radio. Just go to your iOS or your Google Play Store, download the Live 365 app. Once you download that app, then you go to the search bar, type in Sound Booth Radio 106.1. That'll get you on with us on the radio side of Sound Booth Radio. Check us out on the video side. Just go to Facebook or to YouTube, type in Sound Booth Radio 106.1, and that'll get you on with us on Sound Booth TV. Also, you can go to my page, Michael K. Wilson, and that'll get you on with us as well.
Well, we thank everybody for chiming in. I want to say hello to my good friend Carlos Vegas, Daniel Van Horn, and Kai Porter, and all the other people that's chiming in with us. We also have on the program with us our very own Miss Veronica Taylor, who's always keep us updated with the COVID and the flu and the monkeypox. Veronica, how are you doing?
I'm good, Derek. How are you?
Great. Tell us what's going on with our health segment.
Okay, the COVID-19 update per the New York Times, the latest trends show that there's an average of 1,092 cases per day that were reported in Alabama in the last week. Cases have decreased, though those numbers are up just a little bit from the last time. As far as over the past 2 weeks, there's still a 14% decrease of the average of 2 weeks ago, and deaths have also decreased by 43%. The monkeypox update per the CDC as of yesterday, Wednesday, January 25th, there are 30,093 cases in the United States. Alabama is still stable at 186. And also, we haven't been saying much about the monkeypox vaccine. So just to remind everybody that there is still a monkeypox vaccine that's available. It's a 2-dose vaccine. It was developed to protect against monkeypox and smallpox infections because those two infections are closely related. So there is a vaccine available. So speak with your doctor or local health department if you feel that you need to have that vaccine or if you've been in contact with someone. It's given again in 2 doses. You get the first dose, and then 4 weeks later, there's a second dose. The CDC has also provided an influenza update, and the flu is still declining across the United States, so that's good. The CDC is recommending that everyone 6 months and older get an annual vaccine. Remember to wash your hands, use hand sanitizer, distance when you need to, wear your mask if you need to, and do everything you can to be safe. And hopefully the numbers will continue to decline.
Okay. Well, we thank you, Veronica, as always. This is a copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is permitted by a copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips. The balance in favor of fair use. Also, we want to make sure everyone understands that the opinions expressed in this presentation are my personal opinions and must not be construed as representing the opinion of any institution with which I am or have been affiliated in my professional life. And it goes same for Mike and Veronica and all the other people that's on this program. I want to say hello to my good friend Tina Sanders. Thank you for chiming in. Before we get started on the program, we always say a quick prayer for everybody. We just want to take a moment of prayer and ask the Lord to just continue to watch over us. If you all would, please just join us for a quick prayer. Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for this opportunity to come on the airways and share our opinion, share our voice among our family and friends. Heavenly Father, we give you all the praise and give you all the glory. We thank you for your grace and your mercy, Heavenly Father. We know that we could not exist without you and your Son down on the cross for us. Heavenly Father, right now we're praying for all our pastors and government officials, our law enforcement personnel, all first responders. We're praying for all our military personnel. We're even praying for the people over in Ukraine, Heavenly Father. We're asking that you step in and stop that war right now, Heavenly Father. We're praying that those people that are going through that right now, that we continue to watch over them. And Father, we're asking that you watch over all our essential workers here in the United States as we continue to fight this plague of COVID and all the other plagues that are amongst our family diseases. We're just asking that you continue to watch over us and protect us from us. Thank you, Lord, for giving us vaccines that will protect us from all these different diseases that are going around. Heavenly Father, we're praying for the bereavement families wherever they are. We're praying for the people in Selma and Autauga, Alabama, and all other Hill County, Utah, all the places that were affected by tornadoes throughout this country. Heavenly Father, we just know that you are in charge, and we know that day by day that we have to give you all the praise and glory, and we just ask that you continue to watch over us. We're praying for all our pastors, Heavenly Father. We're praying for the president and the vice president and their families. Continue to watch over everyone right now. In your Son, Jesus Christ's name, we pray. Amen. Amen.
Amen.
Just want to say a quick prayer for everybody, y'all. I thank y'all. Before we get into this conversation, hopefully you all will join in with the conversation tonight and call in and give us your opinion before we get started. But we're going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break, probably 2 minutes, less than 2 minutes, and we'll start the conversation. Just stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Tuscaloosa, get ready for the TTown Memorial Day Weekend Blues and Grill Festival, Saturday, May 27th at Palmore Park, featuring O.B. McKenna, Lavelle Hollywood,
Is you 25 and
Arthur Young, Tucker,
They call me Tucker.
TK Soul, Miss Jody, plus Donnie Ray and the J. Morris Group. Also a special guest.
Okay, let me finish that commercial. We hadn't got the whole commercial for some reason, but this is the TTown Memorial Day Weekend Blues and Groove Festival. That's going to take place on Saturday, May the 27th, here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, at the Palmore Park. Hosted by MC Sir Anthony. Gates open at 3 p.m. Showtime is at 5 p.m. Advanced tickets are now available on Eventbrite, so please go on there and click on Blues and Grooves Festival here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. So that will be taking place with Arthur Young, Lavelle Hollywood, O.B. Buchanan, Tucker, TK Soul, Miss Jody, J. Morris Group, Donnie Ray, and hosted by Miss Mary. Look for a great weekend, of Memorial Day weekend right here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. A lot of good things are coming here that particular weekend. So make plans ahead and get ready for a great, great, great weekend of festivals here in the city of Tuscaloosa.
Get your event jumping with Caroline Shines and Impulse Band. Impulse Band has been together for over 7 years, and they haven't missed a beat yet. The band has and will play in various venues and doesn't mind traveling to you. Being led by Alabama Blues Hall of Famer herself, Mrs. Caroline Shine. Impulse has opened up for Bobby Rush, L.J. Eccles, Tank, Fantasia, Calvin Richardson, just to name a few. The Impulse Band will surely fit your need for entertainment. Dial 205-887-6859 or 205-887-5026. Or you can just email them at shinesbrightly@yahoo.com. Caroline Shines and Impulse, the band made just for you.
Hello? Hey, Rick. I had to call you to tell you that the food that you brought to the party last night was wonderful. It made me think about my grandmother's cooking. Where did you get that food, brother?
I went down to Thomas Rib Shack to pick up the ribs, but when I got there, I seen that they had more than just ribs. I seen baked chicken, fried chicken, corn muffins, vegetables, apple pie, peach pie, and I looked around and I seen a sign that told me that they got chitlins and oxtails on Sunday.
Oh,
All I can tell you, go down to 2931 15th Street or just give them a call like I did at area code 205-759-5010. Thomas Red Shack, Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
Well, we thank you for chiming in. Hey, and don't forget to go by our sponsors of the program and support the businesses. We're getting ready to do a event starting next month, watching African American businesses. We're going to recognize a lot of African American businesses here right here on the program. We're going to do a virtual uh, Black Business Mixer, I guess you could call it. It'll be right here on the program where we invite businesses, African American businesses in the Tuscaloosa and West Alabama area. You know, if people don't know about you, there's no way they can support you. So that's one thing I do know. People have to know where your location is, your location, and what you have to offer. So we want to do that coming up starting the um, first week in February. We will be doing a virtual um, Black Business Mixer right here. So we have Black businesses checking in on the program, telling about where they're located, what they have to offer, and any specialties that they may be having. So that's something we will be doing here on the program. I want to say hello to my good friend Wendell Davis. Thank you for chiming in. Kyle Porter, thank you, sir. I hadn't had a chance to get out of my uniform, well, out of my clothing, my work clothes today. Been business. I had to kind of go to court and handle some business today, but thank you all. Everybody say I'm looking sharp. I appreciate that, y'all. And I just want to get ready. Want to get ready. Let's get straight into the program. Once again, my good friend. Want to say a special prayer for my good friend Joe Patrick. Long time 22-year law enforcement officer here in the city of Tuscaloosa. We lost him to natural causes on this past weekend. And just want to say a special prayer for his family also, and all the families, and the lost of a loved one. It's just hard to get over. And Mike, I think your wife, she probably still dealing with the fact of losing her mom. We still praying for her strength too.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay. Let's get into the program tonight, y'all. I mean, okay, so here's the question of the day is: do we treat the 5 African American law enforcement officers from Memphis any different than we treated the 5 officers that murdered George Floyd? I mean, are we going to be more lenient toward the African American officers compared to the white officers that killed George Floyd? Because actually, for those who don't know, Tyre Nichols died here from law enforcement's abuse too, excessive abuse also. So, what's our take on it? We talked a little bit on it Tuesday. Let's talk about it tonight. Are these guys any different?
I don't think there's no difference, Daryl, in white or black. When it comes down to it, a life was taken, be it a black life, a white life, or a Hispanic life, or Asian life. It don't even matter. These people, law enforcement not supposed to be taking life unnecessarily, and it's definitely not in such a heinous way that they have just done this. So I don't care who it was, what they look like, they should get the same type of treatment. And I happily think that the world is trying to see whether or not they're going to be treated differently, get any kind of leniency, so that they can come back and say, well, y'all treated these other police officers like this. What makes them different? So no, it should be the same. We've been saying this the whole entire time. It should be the same across the board for everything that goes on.
Well, well, I'm gonna just keep it like this. Majority of our guests and listeners and viewers are African American majority, and we the judge and the jury of this particular situation right here. I mean, me being an ex law enforcement, retired law enforcement officer, African American law enforcement officer, and I go on record that I totally disagree with how they treated this young man. I haven't seen the video, but any degree of excessive abuse like this is not even necessary. It can't even a punch, y'all. I don't even see a punch is necessary in making an arrest. So any kind of abusive, uh, physical abuse, then I'm just totally I'm just disgusted. I really am about how these young men have taken. Well, I'm gonna just put it the way they said, murdered this young man, a 29-year-old young man, taking his life. So I'm totally in agreement that hey, they all
Yes,
should be
because it's a
arrested.
second degree murder charge
Yes,
that they're going for.
they are deserving of being arrested and put in jail just like any other the officers that have taken the life of George Floyd, in my opinion. Please call in if you'd like to join the conversation. 310-6067 or 205-826-7661. Veronica, as you were saying, go ahead.
Oh yeah, it's just, I mean, it's just awful that the video will be released tomorrow,
Mm-hmm.
tomorrow night. I don't know, maybe 7, 8 o'clock. I'm not sure Eastern or Central, but exactly what time. I know it's tomorrow night. A couple hours ago they were saying in just about 24 hours. So it will be released. Whatever the family saw in the video, they said that after or within or after about the first minute, the mother couldn't watch anymore. Um, I'm wondering. This is in Memphis. So it's kind of like with the pastor in New York. It was so much like when it went down with the robbery and everything. Like immediately people started to think things. Immediately I'm wondering, okay, Memphis. I know Memphis. I know how Memphis is. I know the mentality of Memphis and a lot of people in Memphis. Did they know him prior? Did somebody know him prior? What else was going on? I'm eager to find out more details about what went on, about who knew who. They yet don't have all the details. But what will cause someone in a traffic stop, 5 police officers, to beat a man to death? And everything from what they're saying, whether he was an outstanding citizen or not, which they say he was, I think a FedEx or UPS worker, I want to say UPS, what caused them is there some type of relationship that was there with them? Because otherwise, I don't understand why any police officers. But what I do know is that the swiftness in which they were fired and that the Justice Department is looking into this should be the swiftness that they give to each and every officer, regardless of the color. Because don't say to the African American community, see, this is what we do when police do wrong. We're improving. Do it with all police officers, regardless of the color. And this will should be a message to all police officers and especially to the African American police officers who think that the blue line eliminates the color factor.
Absolutely agree with you.
Nobody else has been fired within this amount of time, and the Justice Department looking into it already. You know, which they should be. They should be. But there's a lot of stuff that goes on, and they tell us not to bring race into everything. But when it's right there, it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck. A duck is a duck. It was swift as it should be. It should always be swift.
I agree with you on that part. You can't be selective on how swift you're going to be with one segment and then not be swift with another race. So that's totally true. I'm going to read some of CNN's story right quick. It says 5 former Memphis police officers who were fired for their actions during the arrest of Tyre Nichols earlier this month were indicted on charges including murder and kidnapping. Shelby County District Attorney Steve Melroy announced Thursday that former officers Tadarius Bean, Demetrius Haley, Justin Smith, Emmett Martin, and Desmond Mills Jr. have each been charged with second-degree murder, aggravated assault, 2 charges of aggravated kidnapping, 2 charges of official misconduct, and 1 charge of official oppression, Melroy said. While each of the 5 off individuals played a different role in the incident in question, the actions of all of them resulted in the death of Tyre Nichols, and they are all responsible, he said. Second-degree murder is defined in Tennessee as a knowing killing of another. and is considered a Class A felony, punishable by between 15 to 60 years in prison. The criminal charges come about 3 weeks after Nichols, a 29-year-old black man, was hospitalized after a traffic stop and confrontation with Memphis police that family attorneys have called a savage beating. Nichols died from his injuries on January 10th, 3 days after arrest, authorities said. 4 of the officers remained in custody Thursday evening after being booked into the Shelby County Jail. Bond was set at $350,000 for Haley, 30 years of age, and Martin, 30 years of age, and $250,000 for Bean, who's 24, and Smith, who's 28, according to the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation. Mills, 32 years of age, posted $250,000 bond Thursday evening and was released according to jail records. In a joint news conference Thursday afternoon, Blake Baldwin, an attorney for Mills, and William Massey, Martin's attorney, said they have not yet watched the video of the police encounter, which is expected to be released to the public Friday. Baldwin described Mills as a respectful father who was devastated to be accused in the killing. Mills, previously a jailer in Mississippi and Tennessee, was in the process of posting bond Thursday to secure his release and plans to enter a not guilty plea in court, his attorney said. Baldwin said he had not spoken to Mills specifically about Nichols. Martin also intended to post bond and will also plead not guilty, his attorney said. No one out there that night intended for Tyre Nichols to die, Massey said. Other officers, attorneys did not immediately respond to requests for comment. Police nationwide has been under heightened scrutiny for how they treat black people, particularly since the Minnesota police murder of George Floyd in May of 2020. In the mass protest movement known as Black Lives Matter, officials in Memphis has braced for potential civil unrest due to Nichols' death and have called for peaceful protests. President Joe Biden said in Thursday's statement, the killing is a painful reminder that we must do more to ensure that our criminal justice system lives up to the promise of fair and impartial justice, equal treatment, and dignity for all. Video to be released Friday. Video of the fatal police encounter, a mix of body camera and pole cam video, is expected to be released publicly after 6 p.m. Friday, Melrose said. Speaking to CNN, Aaron Burnett on Thursday night, Melrose said that while he can't definitely say what caused the encounter to escalate, video shows that the officers were already highly charged up from the start of the video. It just escalated further from there. The video doesn't capture the beginning of the altercation because the officers and Nichols, but rather cuts in as the first encounter is in progress, Mayweather said. What struck me about the video is how many different incidents of unwarranted force occurred sporadically by different individuals over a long period of time, the district attorney added. Tennessee Bureau of Investigation Director David Prush said the fatal encounter was not proper policing. I'm sickened by what I saw and what we learned from our extensive and thorough investigation, he said. I've seen the video, and as DA Melrose stated, you will too. In a word, it's absolutely appalling. Nichols' family and attorneys were shown the video on Monday and said it shows officers severely beating Nichols and compared it to the Los Angeles police beating of Rodney King in 1991. The news today, Memphis officials, that these 5 officers were being held criminally accountable for their deadly and brutal actions gives us hope as we continue to push for justice for Tyre. Attorney Ben Crump and Antonio Ramucci said Thursday. Wow.
It was so bad, his mother could not. She could not. After about a minute, she could not. And that's what they've been saying. it was something on the level of what happened with Rodney King. Why were they amped before? Why were they so amped already? Because from what they said, it wasn't a chase. I mean, why were they amped already? And even if it was a chase, why be so amped that you kill a person?
That's a good question. That's a good question. Please join the conversation.
How did you get to the point where you had 5 officers out there?
Well, Memphis is very dangerous. Don't get me wrong.
I get that. I get that part of it, but on Saturday stuff, would you think that you would have 5 officers on a routine traffic stop?
Well,
I'm sure that they have two police to a unit. So maybe 4. But where did the fifth one come in? If they had 2 cars come up there, but on a routine traffic stop, do you really need 2 cars out there?
Mike, I can answer that. I can't answer that question for you, but it, as we said on the last program here in Tuscaloosa, you see sometimes 3 units to 4 units on a traffic stop because we're using 1-man units, and that's just on my take on that. Kyle Porter says the attitude of most African American cops are seriously hostile toward other African American males and females, and they represent the face of that horrifying attitude. I myself have stated I've had more issues with African American cops than Caucasian cops. I've heard different people say the same thing. I mean, I think it's just the personality of different individuals uh, that kind of give. Let me put it a good way, I guess. Some African American men or women in authority sometimes find themselves feeling above the law, or a part of the blue piece, or whatever you want to call it. Some are like that. I've seen some like that, and I kind of talked to some like, hey, and one young lady was talking the other day. You cannot treat people no way that you don't want to be treated yourself or any of your family or friends yourself. So until you it's hard to really get a chance to really talk to a younger group of officers to get them to really truly understand that, okay, you're human, they're human. That's just the way of the world sometimes. Okay, I realize people commit crimes, black and white. And whenever you get an opportunity to just say, look, this is not the way that you really want to go. I mean, regardless who you're talking to, it's just the way you present that to them. You don't have to treat them like the slave master. Say, like Jingo, go out and what's the guy name that was on the Jingo that we talk about all the time? Samuel Jackson. What his name
Stephen.
was? Stephen. You don't have to be the Stephen. You don't have to be the Stephen. You can treat Django just like you would treat yourself or another person in your family. That's all. That's how I live. You don't have to be Stephen, y'all. You don't have to be Stephen. Please call, join the conversation, 205-310-6067. I'd rather for you to talk with us on the conversation rather than just text all night. Daniel say,
I wish we could really watch MSNBC right now. They have a good, not a good show because it's about people getting killed, but they just talked about Walter Scott. They're saying how these things escalate from traffic violations. They're talking about Walter Scott. They're talking about Sandra Bland, how she was asked out of her vehicle. He throws her to the ground. Her head hits the ground. She says she has epilepsy. The recording shows that verifies that he said it's good. Then, of course, she's found passed away in her cell and was ruled suicide. They're talking about the young man, the mixed young man that was what she thought she pulled her taser. It's like all of this stuff is supposed to be behind traffic stops. Walter Scott shot 8 times. he's telling him to put his hand over his head after he's handcuffed him and his body is there, just laying there. You know, even with these recording devices, they make up these ridiculous lies. I mean, they're just going through, y'all, just a list of what was supposed to be just routine traffic stops. You smart off. He told Sandra Bland when she got out of the car before they even got to that part, she said something. Don't remember what she said, and I didn't need to get out of the car or something like that. Oh my gosh, they're showing the image, y'all, of Tyre. It's awful. She's saying something about why are you stopping me or something like that. Get out before I light you up. Who says that? You want respect. I don't care if whoever you are, whatever you wear, whatever your title, respect begets respect. Mm-hmm. Just because they're police officers and they expect people to yes sir, yes ma'am them, there's nothing wrong with them yes ma'am and yes sir either. And you don't always have to yes ma'am anybody to show yes sir to show respect. You go about your business. You handle the stop. You tell people what you need them to tell you. If they have questions, you answer the questions. If they become hostile, you should be the one to de-escalate the situation because you're the police officer. Even if you can't de-escalate it, you definitely should be the one to escalate the situation. They approach the vehicles. People are like, why are you approaching your vehicles with your hands on your weapon if it's a traffic stop? Sometimes people, if you're suspecting someone of doing something of serious crime, okay. But sometimes people are just telling their stories and they're saying that they're being stopped and that it was a traffic violation. But as the officer approaches, his hand is on his weapon. And so my thing with that is, as soon as somebody's, how do you know it may just take a word for him to grab it? I know that they just can't be happy-go-lucky, willy-go-lucky. You have to have a stern demeanor because it's not a job to play with. It's not an easy job. But just to approach people and then, no matter what anybody says, the approach is different according to who the driver is. What they allow to happen is different according to who the driver or who the perpetrator is. I watched a video of a man out in California wielding an axe, and they just standing there waiting. He could have swung it anywhere. They're just standing there waiting, and he was taken in with no problem. After they were able to, they de-escalated that situation. After they were able to get him, or they, I don't know if they even maybe tased him or something. However, he was taken in. But people are being stopped for traffic violations. And why are things like this happening?
Daniel said it on Tuesday when he called in, and you get stopped by a law enforcement officer on a traffic stop. They coming up to you with their hand on their weapon, and they're yelling to you, "Don't move." But at the exact same time, they give you a verbal command. They'll give you license, registration, and insurance, but you can't move. So how can you give them anything if you can't move? It's right now. Most African Americans are afraid to be stopped by law enforcement. They having to do stuff like take their license and registration to their dashboard so that they don't have to make any sudden moves to pull this stuff out. Anywhere else, you have to do that. Do any other race have to do that? That's a shame that that's the case. And then we coming up to these five individuals right here. We don't know what started anything, and I truthfully don't know of anything that should have been bad enough that all five of those police officers are supposed to jump on him and beat him till he is dead. This is a problem.
That's why I have so many questions. Like, did they know him prior? What was going on? Like, oh my gosh, it's so sad, y'all. They showing his face on his.
We said it many times that our police officers are supposed to be held to a higher standard. We just said it. You're not supposed to be the one to escalate anything. You're supposed to be the one who is trained in conflict resolution. You're supposed to be the one to de-escalate a lot of situations. No, you can't de-escalate all situations, but most of them are. You gonna have some people that's irritated because they felt like, hey man, you gonna stop me over this? You give them their ticket and then let them go on about their business. But you don't have to yank them out the car. handcuff them and put them on the ground and make them look like they criminals on a traffic stop. That I don't think that's procedure.
It's not, Mike. It's not.
So why is it that there's so many people wind up getting pulled out of their car? And when you get pulled out of your car, there you go. You have another way of being disobedient to the police officer, because the first thing most people gonna ask is why am I asking to get out of my car?
You're right.
It's as if you can't even ask a police officer a question. And I'm not saying and let me be clear, not all police officers, but you don't know who you can and can't trust now. So you just look like that toward all police officers. That's how these bad apples are tainting the whole entire batch of police officers right now. There is zero trust, especially in the African American community.
I was trying to bring up the picture myself, Veronica. I'm still having
I mean,
this.
if you see the picture, he looks like from the pictures I saw, seems to be a slender young man. And they're just normal, his regular pictures. But the picture of this young man in the bed shows a person who has clearly been beaten. And he has all this equipment attached to him.
The description you read too, that they already said he had blood coming out of his mouth still with a breathing tube.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull it up to show on the screen now.
And once again, I don't know if they do. I don't hear about this happening in other countries. I'm not saying that it don't happen in other countries, but I just don't hear about it. That is definitely not with the frequency that you hear about it here in our country. Why is it? Why is that the case? And it's not even just the southern states. This is all over the country.
Okay, that's the best I'm gonna be able to get it. That's what he looked like as of right now, with the breathing tubes and everything out of him.
Mm-hmm.
Ridiculous. The way they beat this man.
And each one of those officers, the oldest one was 32 years of age.
Look at his head. Look at his eye. Look at his face. It's
My.
after all of what happened with George Floyd and everything you five African American male officers.
Smart young men. Like these gentlemen, these officers in the 30s. I think
I wonder what was the relationship. This is Memphis. This is Memphis. Y'all, something just feels funny. This is Memphis, and I'm not saying anything about the victim because I'm wondering did this. I've heard nothing but this man was an upstanding citizen, an outstanding father. Doesn't mean nobody's perfect, but that's what I've heard. And if there's any type of relationship going on here, I don't think he did anything wrong. I'm just like, I don't know because I don't know, but I don't think he did anything wrong.
That makes you wonder, like, because like once you say it, Veronica, it's a whole lot of questions. Okay, they seem to been amped up when the stop first started. There's the one I think I heard.
That's what
And
they're
so that
saying.
means that did you come to work amped up like that? Did you come to work with an attitude? Did you have some problems at the house? And
Do they know him? Were they amped because it was him? I have questions of, do they know him? Five African American, 32 years. They're in his age group. They're his peers. Honestly, they're his peers. Y'all, this is so sad. Honestly, they are his peers in Memphis. And I hate this. I'm not trying to stereotype Memphis, but Memphis is Memphis.
Okay.
Memphis, but you know, also like we had Danny Van Horn on Tuesday, like he said, that's a clique of officers. They probably ran together all the time anyway. You know,
Tyre Nichols was pulled over for alleged reckless driving just yards from his home. Authorities say officers used pepper spray.
Why him and why? If it was just a matter of they just howling and drilling and they amped up, who it could have been a lot of other people, but my thing, and God forbid, I'm glad that it wasn't. But why him? He's 29. They range from 29 to 32. I got a lot of questions.
Tonight, 5 former Memphis police
Veronica, I
officers
got
are
the
facing
news
murder
source
charges in
on
the
with
death of Tyre Nichols.
Secret we
While
just
each
hear
of
this
the
part.
5 individuals played a different role in the incident in question, the actions of all of them resulted in the death of Tyre Nichols, and they are all responsible.
The 5 former officers are charged with second-degree murder, aggravated kidnapping, and assault, among other crimes.
Under the laws of Tennessee, second-degrey murder is a knowing killing.
Police say Nichols was pulled over for alleged reckless driving on the night of January 7th.
One running on foot.
According to the district attorney, after an initial altercation with police, pepper spray was deployed. Nichols then fleeing. He was confronted again, resulting in serious injuries. Memphis police saying Nichols complained of having a shortness of breath, at which time an ambulance was called to the scene. The 29-year-old, critically injured, died 3 days later. The family commissioning an independent autopsy. Their attorney stating preliminary findings show Nichols suffered extensive bleeding caused by severe beating. At this time, that autopsy has not been publicly disclosed, and ABC News has not seen it. 2 Memphis Fire Department personnel involved in treating Nichols were, quote, relieved of duty while an internal investigation is being conducted. Those 5 officers, all part of the department's street crime unit, known as Scorpion, fired after an internal investigation concluded they, quote, violated multiple department policies, including excessive use of force, duty to intervene, and duty to render aid.
This is not just a professional failing. This is a failing of basic humanity toward another individual. This incident was heinous, reckless, and inhumane.
The director of the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation speaking today.
Frankly, I'm shocked. I'm sickened by what I saw. I've seen the video. You will too. In a word, it's absolutely appalling.
Nichols' mother unable to watch the full video.
He was less than 80 yards away when they murdered him. Yes, I said murdered. That's right. My son died on January 7th. The doctors pulled the plug on January 10th.
And tonight, attorneys for the family stating that these 5 officers being held criminally accountable for their deadly and brutal actions gives us hope as we continue to push for justice for Tyre. Attorneys for 2 of the former officers, Desmond Mills Jr. and Emmett Martin, saying their clients intend to plead not guilty.
No one out there that night intended for Tyre Nichols to die.
Elwin Lopez with us live in Memphis tonight. And Elwin, we know that President Biden and officials right there in Memphis all urging calm before the release of this, what's expected to be very disturbing video.
Yeah, that's right, David. The president is joining Tyre's family in calling for peaceful protests, stating that violence is never acceptable. The DA here says there's about an hour of body camera and surveillance footage that will be released tomorrow night. And David, police from Memphis to D.C. all bracing for protests. David?
We are all hoping for calm, of course. Elwin Lopez leading us off tonight. Elwin.
It's interesting to me that.
And with this.
I'm listening to
They're
it.
saying that
Street crime unit. There's
Isn't it interesting that
something
they're
else
saying
going
that
on.
no one intended for him to die? Do you ever intend to kill somebody when you go out? You probably didn't intend for him to die, but he died. He died as a result of what you did. And if that had just been any other person on the street that did the exact same thing, they would be arrested and they'd be charged. So that's the reason why I say every last one of them should be charged. If they had been a gang, if they had been 5 gang members that jumped on one person and they caught all 5 of them, they would have been charged. And so yes, no, it should not be no leniency given to them or anything. They should get the full extent of the law.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, we have said police officers are supposed to be held to a higher standard than the people that they're policing. They're not above them, but they supposed to know the law. They supposed to enforce the law. And how you going to enforce a law if you're breaking it?
Like that. They had to attack them through the sky. Yeah. The whole problem with this propaganda. Look at the way the media is spinning it. Look at the way we're getting information. Look at who's controlling this information. These corporations. Yeah. Exactly. And that's why you on live uncut unedited. Until we unify. Yeah. Well, let me just say this, brother. We all don't have to unify. It's just got to be enough of us to get some things done to unify. So you're not going to have 100% black people on board. You don't even have 100% white people all together. They got different fashions, but they have enough to get the job done.
You got people all over America talking about this same subject. They're talking about this same subject all over America right now. I just don't know, guys. I have no idea what we can do to change this. I mean, it's. I think Steve Harvey said something. I think I wanted to start using. It's just the way of the world right now. I think he used that a lot, or some people started to say that it's just the way of the world right now. Even on any topic we're talking about, when we're talking about the church, it's like it's just the way of the world. When we're talking about the black on black crime, it's just the way of the world. When we're talking about black killing blacks or whites killing blacks, it's just the way of the world. Church is just the way of the world. How can we change this? How can are we going to be able to change this way of the world? I guess the question.
The only way you can get any kind of change is if everybody is open minded enough to listen to everybody and realize that everybody got different opinions and thoughts. So just because I don't share your opinion or your thought, don't mean that we enemies. It just means that I don't agree with what you're saying.
Mike,
And for some reason, we can't seem to get over that. A lot of people just can't get over that.
Mike,
oh, you don't see the same thing I see, then me and you can't get along.
Mike, it's mighty funny that you said that, and I found this earlier. It said just because I disagree with you does not mean that I hate you. We need to relearn that in our society. Mike, how did you bring that out of what I had to? I just say earlier. I found this on somebody's page, and I thought that was just a good answer to what we just asked. Just because I don't disagree with you, just because I disagree with you, does not mean that I hate you. We need to relearn that in our society.
I
Man,
wholeheartedly agree.
man, oh man, wow, wow. I found that, and I don't know. I don't even know if this is a statement by I forgot his name now already. But I seen his picture and I seen the comment, and I was just thinking the same thing. How you doing, Val? Thank you for chiming in. She say the scariest part about this is the fact that incidents like this happen with more frequency than we realize. This one didn't slip through the cracks. Right, right.
That is true.
How many more things you think are gonna come forward now that people will feel more comfortable now that these officers are now incarcerated? How many more things you think gonna come out on these particular guys, on this particular gang unit, the Scorpions? How many more things is gonna come out? And and
Well, Darryl, the question is, how many things are actually, how many complaints have already been tendered against that particular gang unit that they just haven't said anything about? So there's probably all kind of complaints already. You can submit a formal complaint, but who actually sees those formal complaints?
a lot of times when people ask me about being mistreated or whatever, I ask them. I said, until you put it in writing and stand by what you put in writing, it hasn't happened. And you have so many people afraid of, uh,
Retaliation.
yes, retaliation. Kyle Pointer said, I've experienced this kind of vigilante of excessive force back when I was 17 years old. I had an African American cop pull up while I was calling from the store payphone, trying to get a ride home. He pulled up and screamed, "Y'all niggas going to jail tonight," and everything went sideways after that point that night. Hmm. Well, as I said earlier, I disagree with the young men, and I really hate the fact that um, they destroyed their lives behind. I don't know if they were trying to prove anything, join a gang, and I'm almost to the point like you, Veronica. By him being what 29 years of age,
29 years old.
and these gentlemen are between 25 and 30.
32.
Somebody knew him. One of
In Memphis too.
one of the five knew him.
So,
One.
Derek, do you think that it could have been that they trying to get a reputation as the gang unit that you don't want to mess with?
It could have been, but still on a traffic stop.
There are a lot of questions. It could have been personal. It could have been relationships. These are all men. 5 men beat this one man. There's a plethora of reasons. Could be you date your girlfriend. Do you think he was having an affair with your wife? Not saying that that's what it is, but there's so many questions. There's so many things that could be in play. Were you involved in drugs? Were you? I mean, all of them on the same unit. 5 officers. Now, Memphis has a lot of African American citizens, but there are not. They have a lot of white citizens as well. These 5 men on one unit. The U.S. Attorney's Office is involved now, so there will probably be some federal charges.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
So whereas the state won't, they got to still deal with federal. There's a lot of questions. The thing about if they were upset about something else, and like Mike saying, something going on at home or some type of gang thing, all of that is too. But something seems more personal, and each of them talking about what role they played or didn't play. But the one role you didn't do, which is what happens too much, nobody said enough is enough. Who said stop? And if you did, then you'll have proof of that. But so far, they haven't said anything about proof of that. We will have more details tomorrow. But out of 5 people, nobody knew when enough was enough.
Did anybody else catch the fact that they said that body cam footage is an hour long?
I didn't, Mike. I didn't.
The only time frame I heard about was with the 3 minutes between the time that they called for an ambulance or something between, I guess, the time they found that saw him that he needed medical help to the time they called or something like that. 3 minutes went by. I don't know how long the actual footage is.
I thought I heard 1 hour, and in between that, he said he couldn't breathe. He had problem breathing, but he had been pepper sprayed, and you know, it's like it wasn't just a beat down. They used the pepper spray. They chased him too, if I'm not mistaken. And his mother said he was 50 yards away from the house.
We got a call on the line with us. Go ahead, caller.
Hey, good evening, everybody.
Hey.
Hey, how you doing?
Hello.
All right. Long time no hear. Absolutely. What's going on, Jeff? Yes. Everything going pretty good, Mike. God bless everybody. And yes. Hey there. How you doing there, Gronk?
I'm good.
All right. Yeah, I wasn't even aware of the situation until like yesterday. I just happened to be on YouTube and I had seen I see the assault and the murder and everything. I didn't see that, but I seen the story. And of course, the first thing come to mind first before I knew who the officers was George Floyd.
Mm-hmm.
And then I seen who the officers were. And how unfortunate it is the fact that yes, first of all, yeah, they deserve everything that they gave those officers in Minnesota and then some. They deserve it. And the way they're talking about this case, I understand it was even worse than that. So yeah, they need to get everything that is thrown at them.
Well, one official just said that it was the worst thing they had ever seen.
Exactly. And so when I took that in, I was like, worse than what they did to George Floyd? My God. So that means they literally was beating this man to death.
Compared it to Rodney King.
Did you see the picture of him, Jesse? I seen him in the hospital. He was oh my God, he was beat bad. And that's cleaning him up after the fact a little. So I knew he was in really bad shape coming in there. But it breaks my heart that we have to keep reliving these sort of situations over and over again. And then I think to myself, like, is there really any true value to us, us brothers and sisters, us blacks in America, where to the point where we know the situation with some, of our white counterparts, European American counterparts, but to have to suffer it from our own people is just more hurtful, because then you have to, like, some people. That's why some black folks are so suave, whatever with the Black Lives Matter movement, because they're witnessing this sort of situation. And I normally have to say, well, in all due respect to their opinion, I said it's really not all the same. But we know we have our people that assault our people. But when these guys here, they are police officers. Once again, they are police officers. Nevertheless, they still have that blue uniform on. And some black folks, when they get them uniforms, they always, the first thing when I seen who it was, you want to know what the next picture came into my mind? Boys in the Hood, that black cop from Boys in the Hood.
I know the scene.
Has
Yeah.
always been a staple in my mind of how some black cops can be. And when I saw who these guys were, that's the first thing I thought about, the actions and the verbiage of that black cop from Boys in the Hood. how nasty and angry and mean and he was to, Omar. Cuba Gooding Jr., I'm sorry. And it was just reminding me how our own people can devalue us in a minute. They can just devalue, our worth. Just like that.
Based on where they see you at. Based on what neighborhood you in.
Based on, I don't know what it is to be, I don't know what it's based on. I don't even want to speculate that because I don't even want to give them that much of an excuse or reason. But all I can say is they're just inhumane. These people are animals. Mm-hmm. They don't deserve this black and white. I don't care what color you are. You don't deserve anybody's sympathy on no circumstances if you do that to a person. It's just there is no reason. I'm gonna say this. I'll say this. I'm gonna say this one thing. I'm gonna let the next person speak. From the words of the great Maya Angelou, when people show you who they are, believe them. Those cops showed us who they are. Believe it. That's who they are. So I don't want to hear anybody give me no excuses. Oh, they wouldn't need training and all that. No. That's who they are, right there. That's them to the core. Because that sort of behavior doesn't come spontaneously. It don't. Only thing comes spontaneously is self-preservation. That's spontaneous. You know what I'm saying? Acts of heroism, that's spontaneous. But what they did, that's cruel beyond cruel. That's evil beyond evil. That has no color to it. Evil has no color. Evil is exactly what it is. Evil. And that's who they are. So I don't want to hear no ex-cop, new cop, old cop, rookie cop telling me anything about training. I don't even want to hear it. Because training couldn't prevent that.
Honestly, I think they should remove the moniker of officers from each one of them anyway. Point blank, because that is it's the fact that you have people that go out and do this stuff while wearing that badge, while wearing that blue uniform. They go and do these type of things. Once again, now the good police officers that are out there doing the right thing, they're getting grouped in with the bad ones.
You want to know why? You want to know why, Mike? Because the so-called good ones will stand by and watch them do that. So you can't, once again, you got to accept them for who they are. I don't care if you so-called good cop. You're not a good cop if you stand by and watch them do that. You're not a good cop.
But now, if you a good cop and you try to stop them, I ain't talking about out of these 5 right here.
No,
that's right. 5 right there. None of them jokers need to even be called police officers.
Absolutely.
But you can't say that about every police officer that ever wore the uniform.
No, it's never about generalizing all police officers, because we all know there are excellent police officers out there. Black, white, Hispanic, across the board. We've all met some. But those right there, they are who they are, with or without the BS training that they are talking about they should have had.
I agree with you. I'm not disputing that. What I said was that they need to remove the title officer from these people because they giving a black eye to the police force. Mm-hmm. These 5 folks are going to make more people not trust law enforcement because of what they just did. And everybody who has done that, it need to be some sort of exileness from that, because that's the reason why people don't trust the police department anymore. And you got your police officers on now.
Let me put this out there, Mike. Check this out. I think police officers, anybody that's in a law enforcement career profession, they should be held to a higher standard than
regular civilian criminals. You know, it's almost like this. You know, you got truck drivers, right? You get truck drivers running that have CDLs, right? And they're considered to be professional drivers. That's right. And guess what? When a state trooper pulls a truck driver over, do you know they lay heavier scrutiny upon them than a normal driver? So why in the world would the police officer or law enforcement rain so heavily on truck drivers with CDL licenses than regular civilians? You want to conduct your way and enforce the law on these truck drivers at the highest level, but you're not enforcing the law on police officers at that high level. You understand? So that's a problem. You know, they need to rethink those things, and how they govern police officers, and how they, charge them, and how they rule them under the thumb of law. Because police officers get a lot of passes. You get what you get. You get suspended with pay. Sometimes, depending on the crime, suspended with pay. So it's basically a 2 or 3 week vacation. Truck drivers, they break their speed, man, they get a big fat ticket, and they get a ton of points removed off their record, which can cause them their career. Literally.
That's a
What's
good
gonna
point.
cause the police officer his career? What? Murdering, killing somebody? But if you beat somebody half to death, man, they probably still got their job. They just got moved to another precinct.
That's a good point, Jesse. I got another call on. Just hang on for a little while. Go ahead, caller, Kai.
Yes, sir.
Hey, how everyone doing?
Hey, what's going on?
Those
Hey, Ty.
are very valid points, Curtis, and we all know many cops have murdered and then got off. The system will protect them, and they use the same lame reasoning, and the jurors acquit them. And you're right, they get paid while they're off until everything is unfolded. And right now, I would not doubt. I think their whole precinct should be on full federal review from top to bottom, because the eyes are on these 5, but I guarantee you, it's more than just these 5 that's in that precinct. Ain't no way you can tell me it's just these isolated 5. And like you said, even those who stand by, because I've listened to cops and say, well, I just said to him, I ain't taking no further, because I don't know if he gonna be watching my back the next time we go out. But that don't give him an excuse to still be who he is when he's out dealing with the public. And when he deals with one version of the public differently and more violently than he does another, I don't care who you have to go to, how high you got to go up. You need to be opening your mouth. They have what they call there you can help with this. What is it? The unit that investigate cops. They have internal affairs. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
IA should be all over this, and should have been all over this already. Who conduct how many complaints on cops, on specific cops, of cops all through that precinct? How many complaints they done got? What consisted of these complaints that they done got? They should have been the first ones all over that. Why they wasn't involved? Why had nobody even brought their name up? Why they haven't even been talked to? Is my question.
Well,
and like I said, I guarantee you, it's more in that precinct than just them facts. They just the focus right now.
Let's talk about the young man Tyreek. I was reading a conversation. Well, I was reading an article about him, and no one is really addressing the fact that this was a good young man. Well, appear to be a good young man based on what his mom is saying. Um, let me read some of it right quick.
That's what I was saying earlier. This young man is dead ex-husband. He's a good father. No complaints. He's a skateboarder.
Yep.
He's not one to typically get into trouble.
That's what was reported about him.
This man was a stellar citizen in his community, an artist, loved to do photography, join his community.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, his profile that they had given on him, loved to sit in a certain place in the park to watch the sunrise. Yeah. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
This is the character of this young man.
Yeah.
And he's gone
That's
now.
why I think it has to be something personal. I don't know what kind of thing they got going on in the police department, but if it wasn't personal, then he was the victim that they came across, that they chose to act like this first. But it seems too personal. Don't you guys see when when it's the worst, it's usually something personal.
Yeah, you want to know something?
They're saying that they played different roles, but like I said earlier, nobody played the role of enough is enough, because whoever did really think enough was enough was too afraid because of the gang mentality, because how thought they would be treated. They let that fear of the gang mentality. They thought that, well, I can't tell on them because that blue line thing. Because somebody should have known. They had different roles. Out of the five, somebody's role should have known when enough was enough. It was too much. It was personal. And it just seems to me it was personal. Even if it wasn't personal, like him and one of them, something is just not. It's just five African American men. I'm saying the mentality behind it is something that is like a criminal. It's something personal. It's some type of, it seems like some type of relationship. And I know that he's an outstanding citizen, but could he have? What could they be jealous? Could he have known one of his girlfriends? I'm just kind of thinking like, what is going on? Not just a girlfriend aspect. Could it have been some other family type dynamic?
You know what, Veronica? A friend of mine brought that to my attention earlier today. That, when it's something like that goes down like that, we was talking, he said, normally something like that, that's personal. Like he must have been knowing the same, maybe even knowing the same female, and something, you know what I mean? So I find it kind of ironic that you brought that up. Yeah. You know what I mean? So you're not the only one who's thinking that, Veronica, by no means.
One person.
You have to look at all five of them. All five of them couldn't have had.
Yeah, but they
the same thing going on in their mind.
But they buddy did.
Yeah, you can be buddies, but not for all five. They beat that man to a pulp.
But sometimes they get in there
and a lot of rage.
Hold on, nobody's saying all five of them dated his girl and he dated their girl. No, this is a gang mentality. If you're in a street gang and your street gang is mad at a homeboy for dating his girl, y'all see him out, it's gonna be a gang mentality.
Exactly.
It's something that's personal, whether it was personal between him and one, or him and two, him and three, him and four, him and five.
It don't matter.
Then it makes you think about, was there some type of sales of something going on? Was there some type of relationship of somebody is doing this? There's something personal. It seems to be more personal. Why just attack this person?
To me, I think they were out hunting that night.
Hey, we have
Like
another
I said in
caller
my
on the line.
comment, when the police officer rolled up on me, I'm just getting out of work, and I'm trying to find a ride to the crib.
Okay, we understand that, Kyle. That was your situation. But we're talking about these men. These men are all their peers.
And he was in the car by himself.
Their peers. It's something about this age thing. It's something about it's the street. It's Memphis. That everything you throw. There are a lot of things to throw into the mix. A lot.
Yeah, we got another call on the line. Go ahead, caller. Then we just listen to time to time, man. We got anything you want to say?
Somebody got the TV up just a little loud.
Yes, this is loud.
Got your TV up too loud.
There you go. There you go. But yeah, I'm gonna say this. I'm leaning like towards like what Veronica and I was just talking when she brought up. You know, when a gang, we all know, everybody on this panel knows what gang mentality is, and all it takes is one of your homeboys to have a issue with someone else, got beef with someone else, and everybody's going to go on attack mode. Now, so I don't know if there was someone like a female involved, and one of those officers ran across him, saw him, and said, "Oh, they go that they're such and such. Remember such and such and such," and they went at him. All it takes is one to ignite something, and once he ignited, it's gonna escalate quick. And then people, you got all this testosterone all blown up and out of control, and it's gonna get worse and worse as they go at this boy. And that's what happened. That's what seemed to happen. Like you said, nobody's gonna go at somebody at that degree unless, and more likely, got to be personal. But still, they showed
something else against the law. Maybe it wasn't a woman. It could be some other relationship that he has with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's illegal.
Yeah. At the end of the day, they showed the world who they are. They showed me who they are. They ain't got no excuse for them. They ain't got nothing for them. Prison ain't good enough for them, to be honest. You know, it is what it is. Like I said, you got truck drivers out here that they don't get a normal ticket when they in violation of traffic laws. They don't get the same ticket as you and I get, because they hold those truck drivers at a higher standard. What's wrong with society today? They don't hold these police officers at these higher standards. If I go to jail, kill somebody for 10 years, they need to go to jail for 50. That's just my point of view, how I feel on it, because a police officer should be the one you feel safe. You feel safe with when they get there, not the one you have to look out for and protect yourself from when they get there.
I agree.
Right, Jess. We're not really talking about how they work, their inner workings. We're talking about human behavior. Exactly. We're not really talking about their inner workings at the job or the fact that they're officers. We're talking about human behavior.
Has nothing to do
their officers expunge on it, but we're talking about human behavior.
Well, like I said, they showed me their behavior, and human behavior was is pure evil. That's what that is.
Human behavior.
A normal human being human beings don't react that way.
Right.
So,
and if they were hunting, why the hypeness? Why the hypeness? Everything just sounds personal to me. I don't know what it's going to boil out being at the end of the day, but it sounds personal. Whether there's some illegal activity going on, God knows they do illegal things. Whether it's a boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, if they were hyped, it's too personal. I don't care what they do inside police office building, how they act as officers. This was something, human behavior drove them to be this angry with this young man.
I agree. It's gonna be interesting, and you know, it's like we're warning you. We're warning you. You know, we seen the knee on George Floyd. We seen the Rodney King beating, and we seen the response. So this, I'm seeing from news outlets, words from the president, words from the mayor, words from the chief of police in Memphis. When you see this, they're asking people throughout other. I mean, DC police is already on alert. So
they know there's gonna be some. They know there's gonna be some protests.
When the papers released, there was just in a reaction.
We
remember when Rodney King's tape was released,
right.
and they're saying that this is the worst thing that they've seen since then. One official says it's the worst thing he's seen. So they're expecting some uproar. It's already been some protests, but I hope that with more transparency, with the quickness of them being relieved, and there's more of a, I don't know, somebody's got a timeline between the 10th and they were fired. No, there was an investigation on the 15th. There was further investigation on the 18th. The family saw the video on the 23rd, and now they've come out with the charges. So those are really swift. They've been following a chain that's every few days.
Extremely swift. It's swifter than George Floyd. The George Floyd case was. Because by this time, you know, they were already trying to tear down George Floyd's character, and right now they can't even do that.
No, you're right. They can't. This young man has a background. Look like he's in church. They said every church knew him. Every church group organization knew him. He loves skating. So it's gonna be tough to use any excuse of, oh, he was an ex drug dealer, or oh, he was trafficking cocaine or something like that. He deserved it because he beat up or raped a white woman, or he raped a child. You don't see any blemish. They say he loved his mother to the point that he tattooed his mother's name on his body.
Now they did try to state when they released the toxicology report, come out he had weed and cocaine in his system, trying to tarnish whatever they could come up with or use that to tarnish his character or
who has weed cocaine in their system.
That's what they're trying to say he did.
I don't see that the autopsy that from what we're seeing. I don't see that.
Autopsy is not has not.
They're not showing.
No, I said toxicology report.
The family, whatever, all goes hand in hand together. That's two totally different things, but they're gonna take into account that they would put that out.
No, that's what I'm saying. They tried to use it to try to put question on his character, but that was the only.
Have y'all seen anybody personally? I haven't seen anybody. I haven't seen anybody say anything negative. I haven't seen anybody say anything negative about him. They say that the lawyer that have seen this, the lawyer that have seen this video said that those officers beat this man like a human pinata.
Yeah, they did. They sure did. And they just whatever time they get, they deserve double.
Well,
I mean, it's bad whoever the cop is, whoever the officers are. But to think like you are black males, you know.
They witnessed George Floyd. So it ain't like they don't know that particular incident existed. And to put themselves in that same situation.
Let me put this question to y'all. What if we already been doing it and nobody died yet?
Well, I did ask that question because one of them, the one who bonded out, who got the lawyer already, his lawyer said that no one expected for him to die, and I'm still trying. I'm trying to figure that one out. I'm pretty sure you didn't expect for him to die. You didn't want him to die. You just wanted him to be beat up so bad he had to lay in the hospital for forever and a day. still, it was a brutal beating. You guys mauled them. Y'all was just like a pack of wolves. Exactly. This ain't no bookstore attitude. This been in them. This ain't just, oh, this Friday night it happened, or this Thursday night, or Saturday night, or Sunday. No. This type of attitude been in them. That's why I do not believe they the only ones that's in that precinct that like that. They not the only ones. They just the ones that got caught. It's more.
Wait, so in addition, they're saying 2 members of the city's fire department were fired. Oh my goodness.
Really? Was it the paramedics?
The egregious nature of this incident is not a reflection of the good work that our officers perform with integrity every day, said Chief Cerelyn Davis. In addition, 2 members of the city's fire department were fired. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigations announced an investigation into Nichols' death, and the U.S. Department of Justice and FBI have opened a civil rights investigation. So why would these? I don't see more info on why these 2 members of the fire department were fired.
That's true.
I don't know if it was something with their response time, or I don't see. Now, I think with the officers, it was personal. With the fire department, I really don't know. Like you said, what have they been doing?
But Darren, let me ask you this: don't the like the paramedics, they gotta do some sort of report, don't they? An incident report for every time they pick up a victim.
It's noted, yes.
So you think it might have been perhaps maybe they falsified a report?
Pretty much, or denied him treatment. But I can't say. Like I said, I'm like Veronica. Ain't a whole lot being made.
I'm lost now. It's so many questions. It's just a plethora of things going on here.
Yes, indeed.
He wasn't even a big guy. He may have been tall, but he was slim. Like 140, 145 pounds. His mother said that he had Crohn's disease of the digestive tract. So he wasn't even, like, what were they gonna say? He was combative, resistant. Like, that doesn't mean he was a strong guy, and all this kind of stuff, or like a man, it doesn't mean he was a man, but they're just saying, like, what did this young man do? Slim, 140, 145, since they like to talk about, oh, he was big. Now he was tall, but he wasn't big.
Or they'll say he was threatening.
Worked at FedEx with his dad. Most people don't even like to work with their parents. Like, he worked at FedEx with his dad for about 9 months.
But Veronica, it's all that, taking all that into account. At the end of the day, they did some of the most heinous things you could do to a human being's body at the end of the day. And there's just no excuse, there's no reasoning for it, anything. I wouldn't even dare.
No reason. Just they say it's defenseless the whole time. They haven't released it yet, but the family attorneys are talking. They're saying him and Pinard, he was defenseless the whole time. It was unadulterated, unabashed, non-stop beating of this young boy for 3 minutes.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I read that. When I was, like I said, I ran across it the other day. And for the first time, and couldn't believe, what they were saying happened, but they didn't have any video. They wasn't going to put the video out yet because they didn't want to, I guess, compromise the investigation. But they're supposed to be putting it out at some point. Yeah, so it's going to tomorrow around about this time tomorrow. Okay. Not tomorrow. They should go somewhere because they show part of him screaming, saying they're going to kill him. Yeah. And they don't care. Yeah. That's the thing. That's another thing. when you hear
He
that
called for his
alone,
mother 3 times. What do that remind you of?
yeah,
George
that's what I'm
Floyd?
saying. Yes. So you know, to the point, they still continue brutalizing these young man. That just speaks in volumes of what type of people they were. So I mean, if I hear anything on that report or news, report, and some people come. Well, the officers lack training. If I hear that, I'm probably gonna lose a flat screen in my house. And I'm not saying it to be funny or anything, but it's just you get to that point where you're tired of that when it comes to us. It just seems to happen when it comes to us. Why do we always have to be the break the barriers when it comes to brutality? Why are we the barrier breakers in the United States? Why? That's what I ask myself.
I would add that to part of our history. If we look at it from a biblical standpoint, the Israelites, when they went into captivity, they did way worse than the ones who had them in captivity did to one another. And so you have that same mentality as what we see here today and what you just said. Why? When it comes to us, we do way worse.
Well, they asked the question. I guess the reporter asked on Tuesday, what were the fire department employees? What did they do or didn't do? And they were told that there were limitations on what they could say, but during a period of time between the EMS, the ambulance getting there, the fire was on scene. And they were with Tyre and the police officers prior to the ambulance arriving. Firefighters are trained to do life-saving measures as well.
Sure.
Did they not do anything? Because that's one of the charges, something to do with failure with those officers as far as rendering him help. That's one of the charges. But they're saying before the ambulance got there that fire was on scene. Fire department was on scene. So that means that makes me question, did they not render help that they were trying to render?
That's quite possible what it is. It's more likely than not that they had a duty also and they failed to perform it. So if they got fired or they being charged or fired or something, then it's something that they didn't do at the scene of that crime. I don't know if they knew the officers.
CNN is coming out with more. They're coming out with more. One of the 5 officers terminated after Nichols' death was a defendant in a civil federal lawsuit in 2016, in which a Shelby County Correctional Center inmate claimed to have been beaten and had his civil rights violated. The lawsuit was later dismissed.
Now you see what I mean when it comes to these officers. They do these heinous crimes, and what they do, they move to another position in another facility. There's no recourse.
Look, like I said, how long they've been doing this before somebody died. It's not an isolated incident, nor is it just something that happened. They've been doing it.
It was Demetrius Haley, whichever one of them was Demetrius Haley. He was a correctional officer at the time. He was one of 3 other Shelby County correctional officers accused of taking the plaintiff to a restroom. The lawsuit, which was filed when the plaintiff was an inmate, alleges the officers accused the inmate of trying to flush contraband. According to the complaint, Haley and McClain hit the plaintiff in the face with punches. It goes on to say the plaintiff was picked up and slammed face first into a sink. Oh my God, by a 3rd correctional officer, then thrown to the floor, after which they allege they blackened out and woke up in a medical unit. So he's been involved in another severe beating. CNN has reached out to the attorney who represented Haley in that lawsuit. CNN has also reached out to Shelby County Correctional Center for comments on Haley's previous position. Wow.
Haley was a 32-year-old, wasn't he? He was the oldest one out of all of them, wasn't
I'm not sure. He was hired. He's been there. He's been on staff since August of 2020. Haley and another defendant later filed a motion asking the judge, let's see what's happened. According to court documents, Haley filed an answer to the complaint requesting that it be dismissed. The document does say Haley and another correctional officer did search the inmate after they observed smoke and assert the inmate did try to flush contraband down the toilet, but Haley denied the other claims of them beating him. Haley and another defendant later filed a motion asking the judge to dismiss the case because the plaintiff had not exhausted his administrative remedies. This motion was granted and the case was dismissed. So who knows what would have happened had the plaintiff did everything he could have done. They say he didn't exhaust all his administrative remedies. Haley was hired by, this what happened in 2018, he was a corrections officer. He was later hired in August of 2020 by the Memphis Police Department. So he had done violence somewhere else. Now this makes me wonder, with that type of violence, they slammed him, they beat him, punched the man in the face, slammed him into the sink. He woke up. Whatever happened, they knocked him unconscious. He woke up in a medical unit. Was he the ringleader? It's so much stuff that has to come out about each one of them individually, as well as a collective. Their histories. There's 5. Okay, we know about one of them. What's the history of the other 4? What's the relationship between this young man? Did he know him? What are we going to see the rest of the video?
And are they going to edit anything from that video?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think that they will. This is the reason, and the reason why I say that is because we're going back to the initial question of should they be treated differently than you would the white cops the white and Asian cop that killed George Floyd. You know, they were really slow about getting all that body cam footage and all that stuff out. They get this stuff out here in Memphis out extremely quick. Extremely quick. I think they're gonna be extremely transparent about it. Now, if had been in this speculation, I don't know for sure. But if they had been white police officers, would it be the same way? I don't know. Probably not. But I can only say that right now they are moving extremely swift with the justice the judicial process, and you can't have any questions about how fast they're moving with everything. They already got the charges in place.
Mm-hmm. You right about that?
They've been charged.
You definitely right about that. They are moving swiftly.
Placed in jail, given the option of making bond, and moving on forward with it. I mean, I applaud the swiftness of the investigation and the seeking of prosecution of it. And the transparency.
And when they release this, for the ones who have been bonded out, when they release this, and if the people protest the way they're expecting, how are they going to go anywhere in the city?
Oh no.
They're going to have to.
I imagine the ones that
unless everything moves swiftly enough to the community's liking. I don't know what they're gonna do.
Well, I think by them making the arrest already, that's showing that in the comments that being made by the Department of Justice, as well as the DA's office, and it ain't like it's no hesitation. Everybody is like it's in agreement, and once we see it, as the American people see the video, it's gonna be like how to maintain control of the protests. I mean, there's no reason.
Yes, but for the ones that bailed out, how does he go to Walmart?
Oh, he got.
How does he go to the? That's what I mean. How does he go to the store? How does he get?
He's going to get everything delivered.
Well, he's going to at least he's going to have to leave the state if he could.
That's
But
what I'm thinking. He's going to leave. He's going to have to leave the area until all of this is.
Because I'm pretty sure it'd be some confrontation, between him and somebody based on that. But in all true meaning, we're asking. I think everybody's asking for this to be peaceful protests. If there to be protests, to be peaceful. There's no reason to burn down your own city. I was watching. I be watching these movies. It's like these are like movies just in the making. You know what I'm saying? It's like
They sure are. Yep.
What was it? The five guys that went to prison in New York. I forgot the name of that.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
When Trump had
I mean, the Part 5.
Yeah, the Part 5.
Central Part 5.
Then you got the movie where I think the radio host was Green. I can't think of his last name, and they were talking about when the riots in L.A. and all those different places, Detroit and man, this yeah, Petey, yeah. So we're asking if you're gonna protest anywhere, please protest peacefully. There's no need to burn down your own city, looting your city, because they don't do nothing but cause money for everybody. And once again, the 6-year-old, the teacher is now suing the school system about the 6-year-old that shot her, from my understanding.
Yeah, she is. It's so much to that too. So much to it. They said those people were warned. Several people were warned. She even called a friend and told him that he had it. One of the kids reported it, and they did nothing. I think the superintendent has been let go. Someone else is. Oh my goodness. That.
I heard that they searched him. The 6-year-old had enough sense that, but when he got to school, he took the gun out of his backpack and put it on himself, and they searched his backpack and they didn't find the weapon, but they didn't search him.
But he showed the gun. He showed it to another child.
Yeah. So, but because they didn't sit in the book bag, they let him go on by his business.
Well, y'all, it's that time of the night. We did a 2-hour show tonight almost, so we'll see how it turn out. I'm pretty sure we'll probably talk more about it on Tuesday. And
yes, most of as the video is going to be released tomorrow, I'm pretty sure they're going to have some more stuff about those other 4 officers. That's going to come out also. So, before we do get off the air, though, I do want to remind everybody about the basketball academy going on. It has actually been extended until February 6th. Registration for that. So, if you have any kids that's interested in joining the basketball academy, 13 to 16 years of age, they're taking the registrations. It's a full-on academy. They're going to teach you everything from all the fundamentals of basketball, how to work as a team, physical fitness in the sport, and you actually get a chance to learn how to receive plays and run plays and so forth and so on. It's a full-on academy. It's going to be taught by several former college coaches. So please, if you have any young children that are interested in joining the academy, please get in touch with Joseph Evening. He will make sure that y'all get registered. And Tuesday, I think I'll make sure that I get you that link. I got the link. I just forgot to send it to you, Daryl. So that's my fault.
Okay.
Well, I have 2 announcements. It's Girl Scout cookie time. Who has Girl Scout cookies? Who knows anybody with the Girl Scout cookies? And hopefully they won't be charging $10 a box for 10 cookies. Second announcement, it is tax seasons. So once you guys get your taxes, I will be giving you my cash app.
Oh, cash app.
Okay.
Okay, thank you for telling me.
Those are my announcements.
Mm-hmm.
Well, all righty then.
Well, okay. Well, like I said, we'll be here on Tuesday, and we'll be conversating again as usual. Thanks everybody for chiming in, and y'all have a safe weekend, a happy good weekend. It's supposed to be a little rain and a little cold. It's cold tonight. Let's see. Greene and Sumter counties have been included in the emergency disaster declaration. And I was gonna mention the city of Tuscaloosa is doing taking up donations at different locations for Selma victims. I'm not sure what all they're asking for. I go on the website. If I see something, I post. If Veronica, you see something, you post, please.
Yeah, because I know Mayor Herndon did. I don't know if he's taken it already.
Yeah,
but
he is.
I know he took it to Selma.
Okay.
He's taking some down in the morning.
Tomorrow, it's in the morning. Okay.
And there again, I was, about to spearhead something like that of that magnitude, but I tell you, I didn't have the transportation to do it this time. So anyway, join forces. People want to help people in Selma. Just help the city of Tuscaloosa, Mayor Herndon, whoever got things going on that's going in that direction to people helping people right here in Alabama.
That's right.
All right.
That's right.
Okay, so it's Selma, Greene County, and Sumter County now, as of now.
Right.
Is that okay.
Also.
But y'all have a great weekend, and we will talk on Tuesday if nothing happens.
Okay, y'all have a great weekend.
Y'all too.
All right. Y'all have a good one.
Tuscaloosa, get ready for the TTown Memorial Day Weekend Blues and Grill Festival, Saturday, May 27th at Palmore Park, featuring O.B. McKenna, Avail Hollywood,
Is you 25 and
Arthur Young, Tucker,
They call me Tucker.
TK Soul, Miss Jody, plus Donnie Ray and the J. Mars Group. Also a special guest